Hi everyone. So I am recording my very first video. A little nervous, if you can't tell by my shaky voice, but I guess I should introduce myself. My name's Alexandra, or you can call me Alexa. That's what most people call me. And I guess I could give you a little bit of a backstory, even though most people that will be here will already have known me. Pardon any outside noises that you hear. There are fireworks going on in the background. So I went through a pretty traumatic event roughly about a year before COVID started, and when that happened, it caused me to kind of come into my own and stay within myself, and I kind of lost interest in everything, and you know, COVID kind of brought everything to light for me, and you know, started dealing with demons that I hadn't dealt with in the past beforehand. But to make a really long story short, I ended up to be who I am today, which is somebody who doesn't leave the house very often. And when I say very often, I mean a couple times a year, I promise. And I found a love in creating, and although I'm not very creative within certain spaces, I found a love in resin, and the fact that resin has no I guess you can say it has no rules. You follow certain rules, but resin does what resin wants to do, and I love to see the final touches in everything that I create. So in following my passion of creating resin, I've only been doing this for roughly about 2 months now, and I only have very few things compared to a lot of other resin artists that I watch online. Shout out to a few of them, which would be Miss Sheila from Reptiles and Resin, and Melissa, I can't remember the name of her YouTube channel, but I will tag it below. They're both two of the ones that I watch more than anything, so I decided I'd give it a go and try to start a channel myself and see how we go from there. So welcome if you don't know me, and thank you to everybody that does know me that's watching this today. If you don't know about resin, this is going to be a longer process in real life than you think, or what you will see on the channel. So this will be a 2-part process for me. It's going to include me getting the resin ready and filling these molds that we've chosen. My son and I went through different mica powders that we wanted to use and a few molds that we wanted to try, as well as my best friend. She put in some effort. Shout out to Raina for that. And so we're going to set up the resin. We're going to get that ready and put the mica powders in and get them all set up in here. And then again, for those that don't know resin, it takes about 24 hours to cure for me to be able to work with. So I have a little elk here. The elk I got from Amazon. So I'm gonna decorate the elk once we're finished. This little frog my son chose. I also got him from Amazon, and we're going to color his legs with the fluorescent green, and he is going to have the Rolio Burgundy as a body. My son chose it. I don't have any googly eyes that are small enough for him, but I do have ones that are slightly bigger, so I'm thinking that what I might do is just burr out the eyes and put in the googly eyes after, and then cover it with UV resin. And then we're also going to do, my best friend wanted to help me with the decision for these little dinosaurs, I got these from Temu. It was under $3 for this set. So what they are, little dinosaur babies. They're super adorable. I'll definitely link all of these molds down below if you're interested. So we're going to do them opposite. The bodies will be, one body will be purple with the scales being orange, and then one will be orange with purple scales. Once they're cured, which will be tomorrow, this is going to be a 3-part process. Then I'm going to put them within the egg and then cover this with resin, and then that's going to take 24 hours to process, and then I'll be able to demold this and show you that. Also, my son chose these Christmas molds. As we're doing the elk, we're also going to do these Christmas ornament molds. So they're very cute. We chose standard colors for them. He wanted red and green. Again, Rolio Michael powders for those. I have the kit, the 24 set kit. I don't have anything bigger than that as I'm just starting out. So I have really just kits of alcohol, ink, and mica powders, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. So we're going to do red and green for those. And I don't know if I said, but we are going to make the elk in the Rolio powder as well, which is Bleu de la France, or Bleu de France for that guy. So that's what we're doing today. So what I'm going to do is move all of these molds over to the side, and I'm going to start to get the resin ready. Because I am the type of person that will make a mess. So I need to make sure that I have everything out of the way that I can possibly make a mess with. And trust me, I will. And the resin that I'm using, so I'm going to be using our Let's Resin mixer for this. And the resin that I'm using today is the Let's Resin resin, so it is a 1-to-1. So I think we're going to need, I'm guessing roughly around, so these don't have ounces on them. Oh, they do, okay. So I'm going to make approximately 8 ounces. So I'm going to do 4 ounces of A and 4 ounces of B. I did read that B is better to put in first, which is the hardener. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in 4 ounces of B. Now, if I do have leftover resin, let's not be mistaken, I have so many molds at home that I will definitely be able to use them. So we'll get that used up no matter how much extra resin we have. But I'd rather make sure that I have more than, as opposed to not enough resin. So I'm just gonna wipe this off because it does make it hard to open if you don't clean it up. And so that's 4 ounces of B, and now we're gonna add 4 ounces of A. If you do hear cats, I do have 2 of them, and one of them is just about to come between my legs, so you may hear her. So we'll add 4 ounces of A. Now, I don't have a bubble machine. I know a lot of resin creators do have bubble machines. I do not. I did have the capability, which I'm very thankful for, to order one on special from Resiners. So I should be getting that soon, hopefully. But right now I do not have one, so we'll be using a lot of isopropyl alcohol. If you don't know and you aren't a resin artist, isopropyl alcohol is going to be your best friend. So now what you normally do if you don't have the Let's Resin machine like I do is you will hand mix the resin for 3 minutes, but because I do have the machine, I'm going to go ahead and let that mix for me. So I'm just going to make sure it's nice and tight there, and all you do is press the button. It does mix for 40-second intervals. If you haven't used this Let's Resin mixer, it does do that, so I'm just going to let it go ahead and do its thing. This is a blessing for anybody that might have carpal tunnel. You may have arthritis in the hands, any types of issues. Let me tell you, I am not young anymore, but I'm definitely not too old either. But 3 minutes does end up to be quite a long time when you're mixing resin. You don't think about it, but when you are mixing resin, it does take quite a bit of time. So this is a blessing to have. Any type of hand mixer, they do have hand mixers on Temu, I've seen them. They do have them on Amazon. There's quite a few hand mixers you can get. I just ended up getting this on a deal, so that's why I have this guy. And I think I could go for a little bit more, so we'll do another round here. And then I will hand mix the other bit. The great thing about Let's Resin mixer is they tell you to have a second cup available. And once you're finished using, the mixer, then you just take this part and put it in a clean cup, and you just spin the mixer without anything in it to clean the paddles. So that's actually great. And then after that, you just use the isopropyl alcohol as well as obviously paper towel to clean it up. So that looks okay to me, so I'm going to go ahead and let that clean itself up, but I am going to make sure that I take every little bit of resin that I can, because again, if you don't know, resin is quite expensive. And thanks to Miss Sheila, I found out about this this mold here from BB Craft. BB Craft is also one of the prominent Chinese sellers, and this little mold will be great because I got some great ideas from her to do crafts with the extra from the molds. So again, with resin being so expensive, you don't want to waste anything, so waste not, want not. Take the extra resin and put it in here. There's different shapes. There's cones, like bee cones and squares and diamonds and mosaics. So having that inside of a mold will actually be amazing with different colors. So that's what I plan to do here. So I'm gonna let that looks like it's emptied enough of that. So I'm gonna let that in here. So pardon the noise. I'm just gonna let that clean the resin there. And then I'm going to hand mix this a little bit more, because as much as I like having the machine to do the work for me, I want to make sure I'm scraping the sides and the bottom to make sure that the hardener is mixing evenly. There are quite a lot of bubbles in here, so I am going to spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in here so as the bubbles come up. You'll be able to see them actually popping as they come to the surface here, so that will assist us in that. And what I'm going to do is mix this into, or separate this, pardon me, into different containers so that we can mix in the different mica powders for our projects. Now, if you don't separate this into smaller projects, the solution starts to activate. So what happens is it starts to warm up, and that's how you know it's working. You normally want to wait until it's warm to mold, to put anything in your molds, as that means it's activated and it's starting to work. It also works a lot with blooming that I've seen. Blooming is a way to use resin. I'm not sure exactly how to explain it, but Pour Your Heart Out, Julie at Pour Your Heart Out does a lot of videos on blooming, which she does some very beautiful blooms, and one day I hope to try them because she really does an amazing job. But I don't have the confidence for that just yet, so one day we'll get there. All right, so again, we do see lots of bubbles in here, but that's okay. There's only so much I can do without a bubble machine right now, so I'm just going to make sure that I use my alcohol where needed. So I think first what we're gonna do is get the resin ready for the frog. I think the frog is going to take the most resin. I believe when I've seen Michelle pour a Glitz and Glitter, just remembered her YouTube name, sorry. I believe she said it was about 2 ounces for this guy, and then his little antlers. So I think he's going to take the most resin. So I'm going to get this one ready here. And we're going to add, again, some of the Rolio powder. My son chose burgundy for the body. Oh, it's very pretty. So we're going to go ahead and get a scoop of that out. And I'm the type of person that will put sparkles into anything, but for this one, because it is as per my son's request, I'm not going to do that to him. So we will, I think I'll add about, let's see, I have a feeling now I may not have poured enough resin, but that's okay. We could always pour more later. So I'm going to pour about 3 ounces and see how we go from there. For that, actually let me use this one, and then I'm going to add a little bit here to the green, which we're going to use for his little leggies. I've seen some people demolding these frogs and the little toes go flying, so I'm gonna try my best not to have that happen to me. Let's hope it doesn't. All right. So let's go ahead and mix up the resin for the body of the frog for my son. You want to make sure we get all the clumps out of here. Scrape the sides and the bottom. Oh, that's such a beautiful color. Now it is cold. I do live in Canada, so it is a little cold. I have the window open, but I will wait to make sure that I have as many bubbles out as I can get from here. Now that is a beautiful color, if you can see it. It's an absolutely gorgeous color my son chose. I don't think this is going to be enough resin, but we do have the mixer here just by us in case we do need more. Now I do know that there is a trick for some people. They say that if you put your cup in warm water, it does help a lot with the bubbles, but what I'm going to do is babysit them and watch them for a few hours to make sure that the bubbles do dissipate as much as possible. I'm also going to make sure that I squeeze and shimmy and shake these guys to make sure that I get out as much bubbles as I can. So let's go ahead and start pouring the frog here. So I'm going to go ahead and get as much as I can up in his head. I didn't pour any alcohol into him first, which I should have, so let's hope that that doesn't hinder the progress at all for us getting him out at a later time. And again, I am seeing that that's probably not going to be enough resin, so we do still have approximately 5 ounces in the container, so as well as quite a few here, but I'm gonna shake this up, get the bubbles up from here, make sure all the nooks and crannies don't have any bubbles, especially his eyes, his little nose, under his chin. I've seen that a lot of people have issues with bubbles, especially in those places, so I'm going to make sure to extra care when I'm looking there. I'm just going to squeeze and shimmy, shake these guys. And you see all the bubbles there on the surface, so as soon as I spray it, you see all the bubbles start to dissipate. So that's exactly what we're looking for, is the bubbles to come to the surface, hit the alcohol, and break open. Now what I'm also going to do is use my dotting tool and just go around those edges and make sure that I'm getting every nook and cranny that there could possibly be a bubble. You don't want to move too much to add extra bubbles into the resin, but this does help to get any out that might be just under the surface, especially, as I said, since I don't have a machine to pop the bubbles right now. But I am getting the smaller resiners machine coming in. I'm just not sure when, the light green one. So hopefully it does fit this larger cup that I do use. I hope it does fit it. And then at least then I know that I could do one batch at a time, and that should be fine for me. I don't have a lot of room in my office, so that was a big deciding factor on what I was going to get as a bubble machine as well. Unfortunately, you know, I would love to have one of those L-shaped desks, so that I had enough room for all of my gadgets that I need for resin. I just don't have that right now, so I'm just working with the space that I do have. So that machine hopefully isn't too large for me, and I'll be able to fit it in my little space here so that I can get all these little bubbles out that we're working with. All right, let's scrape all of the resin that we can into the frog here. Now it looks like we are going to need some more resin for him, so that's not a problem. We'll go ahead and mix a little bit more. As I said, we just want the feetsies to be green. But if I add green now, since it's not up to the toes yet, then it's not going to be just his feetsies. So let's go ahead and mix just a little bit more resin here. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to give it a quick spritz. And you can watch those bubbles. This is what I love about the mica powders, is with resin, it just creates patterns, and everybody sees something different in the patterns that you get when you see the mica powders come together. So it's fascinating to me. It's one of the things that got me loving resin in the first place. So I think my family was relieved when I finally had a passion for something after so many years of just being you know, in the house, not wanting to leave or do anything. I've been diagnosed with agoraphobia, so if you don't know what that is, that means I don't like being outside around people. So it causes quite a few issues. I only seem to go outside when I absolutely have to. And, you know, it's hard. I come from a European family, and it's hard for parents to understand what that means. You know, mental health wasn't a big thing back home, so but I advocate for it. I understand it. I live it every day, still do. So if you are living it and having a hard time, know that you're not alone. That's one of the things I will always do, is continue to advocate for mental health awareness. I know what it feels like to feel alone. I know what it feels like to feel like you're not enough. So if you ever feel that way, please know you're not alone. Please know you're worth it. And please know that you are loved even if you don't feel it. Trust me, I know it's easy to feel like you are not loved or that you don't want to be here anymore, but that is not the case, and know that people love you. I don't know you, but I love you, so. Alright, so I just added just about another ounce here, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix that. I have a feeling I'm going to have extra, however, I do love this color, so I may use some of it for something else. Let's see. But I wanted to be sure that I had enough to fill the rest of the frog here. So if you are new to my channel or you don't know me and you're just coming in, feel free to leave a little bit about yourself down below. I will read and like every comment that I can. I will definitely show appreciation for you coming and watching my videos and being here. I don't know what will come out of this, but I do know that I have an amazing support system behind me. I have my son and my parents, my sister, my best friend, and you know, a lot of good people in my life that love me and want the best for me. So I'm very thankful for them, and it's because of them that I'm here doing this. Otherwise, I don't think I would be. I was a little bit terrified, let me tell you, before starting this video, but okay. So we've got that full. Let's mix the green now for the feet and get that in there, but I'm going to give it another spritz here because I am seeing quite a bit of bubbles coming up, and you may hear my dad come down here in a moment. A little bit of a darker green than I anticipated. I was hoping for more of a fluorescent type of green, but it is darker. Oh, it's my son here. He's come just in time to see his frog come to life. So I think I did fill it a little bit too much because I do want to make room for these toesies. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and scoop some of this out in order to get the green in for the toes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that once I'm done mixing this together. That way I have enough room for the toes here. I don't want to overfill. I've seen what they look like pardon me. I've seen what they've looked like overfilled, and the toesies become wed little toes, and we don't want to do that to our froggy. So let's go ahead and get some of that out. As I said, I am very new to this, so I am still learning. And if you have any tips and tricks, if you are somebody that does do resin all the time, I am open to any type of suggestions you would have for me. They would be greatly appreciated. All right, let's go ahead and leave that there. And I'm going to go ahead and add some to the toes. So I've got room to splurt them in here. I need to see if I can find myself a fluorescent green. I always think about tree frogs, but my best friend told me this is a little bit opposite. They're usually green with red toes, but we're gonna just do things a little bit opposite because you know what? Why not? So let's go ahead and add the green little toesies in here. Cute. I love tree frogs. They're so adorable. I love amphibians. I like, absolutely love axolotls. If you know me, you know I love them. I had an axolotl for a while, but when I went to the hospital, he passed away, sadly. His name was Axel. I know. Very authentic, right? But his name was Axel, and I loved him very much, but, you know, they are easy to take care of if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing and you are part of my family, and don't really know anything more than fish, just regular fish, then it becomes a little bit more difficult because their water needs to be certain levels. So I was always watching that for him, but unfortunately with me not being here, he ended up sick and passed away. But I seen an adorable axolotl mold, but a little bit disheartened. It looks like for Americans it's only $12.99, but for us Canadians, they don't like us. The mold itself is $67 for Canadians, and I saw it on the American website and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get it. And then I went to go order it and they said they only ship to Americans, so I was disheartened. All right, I'll go ahead and shake that in here. Yeah, so I was a little disheartened. I couldn't get my little axolotl, but some lovely people asked me to set up a wish list for Amazon. So he is on my wish list, though I don't expect anybody to pay that much money for a mold. That is quite a bit of money for a mold, especially a regular one. Because I know you're gonna see me coming in a few videos where I have a lot of into resin ones, and you're gonna say to me, oh, I thought you said molds are expensive. And they are, and I don't mind spending that extra money for the ones that are handmade, because those are just absolutely gorgeous. And I don't think I would have bought them unless I've seen the reality of what they look like with some of the YouTubers that I've watched. So in seeing them and how they look, I just couldn't not grab them. Every time I look at one, I'm thinking, oh, this friend will like this, or my sister would like this, or my best friend would like this, and then, you know, I end up going crazy buying things for my son, my mom. So many people to give things to. So I'm making a huge mess here. I think I just didn't pour the green fast enough, so we do have some red that has gotten into the toes. I'm hoping the green does overtake it. If it doesn't, that's okay. It's my first time making a frog, so we'll see how it goes, and then next time we'll fix it up if we need to. And I will clean the edges of this up because we don't want webbed feet, do we? It showed me my table was level, but it seems like this little leg doesn't have enough resin in it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fix that. Gotta love these leveling tables where they say they're level and you can tell when you're molding. That is absolutely not the case. Alright, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I can sit here and fiddle with these forever. But I'm not going to save you guys the time of that because we have chosen quite a few molds to do. So let me just go ahead and pour the rest of the green for the feet. Hopefully it does mix in well with the red. I think my son liked what he saw. He came in, smiled, and walked right back out, so I think he likes the frog. As long as he likes it, even if it's not perfect, we'll just keep going and learn as we go. Oh, see a little bubble there, make sure that's popped. Now I do have UV resin, so if I do find any bubbles or things that need to be repaired, I could always do that after the demolding process. I can show you how to do that in the second part of this video. But we'll go ahead and I keep saying I'm going to leave the fiddling, but I continue fiddling. I told you I'm a perfectionist, so and that bubble is coming back, so I'm going to have to grab my dotting tool and pop that bubble. Alright, let's go ahead and get that bubble there. It's a pretty big bubble. And all those micro bubbles at the very top, we're going to go ahead and spritz that. I actually like the coloring. It almost looks like a Christmas frog to me. The coloring turned out pretty good. To give my son some props for choosing some pretty cute colors for his frog. I'm going to go ahead and just clean this stirring stick here in my table because resin does become extremely sticky and difficult to clean if you let it sit for too long. So alright, so we're going to move Mr. Froggy over while we continue. He looks so cute. I really like him, even if I did mess up. I think he will end up pretty cute. I'm just going to clean some of the edges here. Some of the extra resin. But he did turn out to be pretty cute. I was a little, don't tell my son, but I was a little concerned about his color choices at first, but Now that I'm seeing it, it's actually pretty cute. Looks like a Christmas frog to me. So I like it. Anyway, I can clean that up when I demold tomorrow. So we'll move him out of the way. Make sure that I keep an eye on any bubbles that I see with him. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my spoon. Now, I do have just under an ounce of this red left, and I absolutely love it. Let me see if the frog could use just a little bit more. Now, you see what the resin's doing is it's mixing with the red now, the green legs. And that's what I love about resin is you think it's going to turn out some way and you come back and it really turns out completely different. And I love that about resin is it may not be perfect, but if it turns out unexpectedly amazing, then you just love it. So let's go ahead and dome this guy as much as we can with my table that is apparently level. There we go. All right, so we'll leave him so he doesn't start pouring over, because knowing me, that will happen. And I'll give him another spritz just to get those extra bubbles. I even love watching just the bubbles pop. Now, I do see that we are, obviously my table is not level because that area, these toes are completely covered now. So let me go ahead and fix this as much as I possibly can right now. I'm just gonna scoop some of this away. And that's all you can do. As I said, resin's pretty unpredictable. You really need to have a level working station. And if you don't, you'll see things like this, especially when you're molding. You'll see that things will overfill or overflow. And that's okay. We all have to learn from somewhere, and I'm still learning here. Still doing the best that I can, but I'm always, as I said, if you are somebody that does resin all the time, I'm open to learning any tips and tricks you guys have. So please let me know if you know of anything that I may have done wrong, or anything I can do to fix anything that I've done in the future, any processes I can change. I'd be happy to learn from you, and anything new that I learn from other YouTubers, I'll be sure to share with you guys in case you're learning resin with me. Now, I don't think he's gonna go anywhere, but another thing I should tell you is that when you do spray the isopropyl alcohol, it does actually cause the resin to thin. So if you are doming, be careful how much isopropyl alcohol you are adding. That does cause it to overflow. So you don't want to add too much of that. Now, I only have a little bit of green left, so I'm going to leave that over here, the cup over here, on my other mold, and we'll let that drain on the mold, because it's a pretty green, and I'm sure we are going to continue to use that. Now, I'll leave the frog over here. And I have just a little bit of this red left. So I think what I'm going to do is use it for one of these snowflakes in the middle of the ornaments. Or I can use it on the plain ornament without words and just mix a few colors and see what we come up with. I think that's what we'll do. We'll just add the rest of this here. We'll add it to the bottom. And naughty me, didn't use isopropyl alcohol again. And that's okay. If you are using a handmade mold, don't use the alcohol. It does break down your molds. But if you're using the cheaper molds like these ones, then that's okay. You know, they do break down after time, so that's fine. But the handmade molds, definitely, I would not. For the money that you pay for them, I would not spray them with isopropyl alcohol. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a moment, which will happen. It looks like this might fill the whole bottom, and that's okay if it does. I'm gonna go ahead and let this cup drain as well, because I like that red as well. So let's go ahead and start with the elk. I'm just gonna clean up my hands here a little bit, or my gloved hands, because I do have resin everywhere. So I do want to start with the elk because the elk is small and I can move it over to the side, and it gives me time to go ahead and start with this, which is the bigger project. Sorry for that noise if anybody's using headphones. That is just my garbage can that's right beside me here that I will be using quite often. All right, so I did say that I wanted to make my elk blue, but I do want to make his little antlers brown. And so what I've decided is to mix two different colors of alcohol inks. So I do have failll Riche. I could be saying that wrong. It's a metallic alcohol ink in coffee, so it does look a little bronzy. And then I have Decor Rom, it looks like, in coffee, and this is just a very dark brown. So I think I'm just going to mix them both together and see what we come out with for the antlers. So we'll go ahead and pour just a small amount of resin for that. Again, it only needs a tiny bit, so that's all we're going to pour, is a tiny bit for that. Pardon me. If we do have any extra, that's fine. We'll go ahead and let it drain on our mold over there, our little mat, so that we can get some extras. But we'll go ahead and add the dark ink. Again, that's the Decor Rom. That's just coffee, so just make sure you mix it. I did mix it well previously, but I just want to make sure I keep it nicely mixed. And while I'm doing this, I'm just keeping an eye on my frog. Again, I don't want to spray it too much with alcohol because it can run over, but I am seeing a lot of bubbles, and I do want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Now, one of the big things that they say is that under the chin, chinny chin chin here, a lot of bubbles form, and I can see that right now. So that's going to be something that I'm going to work on tomorrow. I'll show you how I use my deburring kit in order to file it down, and then use some some UV resin to fill that in so that it looks like nothing's happened. So we're going to add some of the, as you can see, it's just a brown, like a dark brown color, but I didn't want it to just be brown. Again, I like my sparkles, so we're going to go ahead and add some of this coffee. It does have a bronzing effect on it, so we're going to add some of this here. We are at 49 minutes, so I'm going to try to be a little faster here for you guys. But as you can see, as I'm adding that, such a beautiful color. So I'm just going to add about 3 drops there. And I just spilled 2 on myself because I'm clumsy. So you will get to know that about me if you don't already. So I'll just clean that up quickly here. My videos at the beginning might be a little bit longer just because I'm just starting out, trying to give you as much info as I possibly have to help you if I possibly can, even though I'm just learning. And if you do like the longer videos, let me know. If you don't like them, also let me know. I'll make sure to try to condense them in the future. I can speed things up or cut things out. Just let me know if you prefer it or don't prefer it. So adding those 2 colors together with the alcohol ink, it does actually help pop some of the bubbles as well. But that's more of a beautiful chocolatey color as opposed to the darker color that you had. So you do have a little bit of shimmer in there, something that you all know that I will love. I do love my shimmer. So we will go ahead and be a good girl this time and spray those antlers with isopropyl alcohol first. I'm going to dump some of the extra alcohol here just into him because I think I sprayed just a little too much. And we're going to go ahead and fill the antlers here. Now, if you don't know about the elk mold, and I'm sure you're going to absolutely love it when you see it demolded. Obviously, you put this together at the end, so I will show you how to do that in the second part of this video. Alright. So almost the perfect amount for these antlers. We'll just move them up here to the side. Oops. Like I said, I'm clumsy, so we'll just get these out of the way. Check on the frog here. So as you can see, the feet are being overgrown, but they're overfilling here at the back. What I will do is I will go ahead and shear that off tomorrow. I just don't want to touch it too much because I don't want it to overflow. It is a little bit domed, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean that up tomorrow, but for right now I'm just going to leave that. Now I do have a tiny bit of brown left, and the antlers do look full, but let me see if I can just get them a little more. Well, this is something that I do is I usually overfill or underfill. So I don't know which one's worse, but I think I did okay with that. So we'll spray that guy and let the bubbles pop there. And we're going to do some decorating with the elk tomorrow. So you'll be able to see, I'm going to do some rhinestones. We're going to put a little Christmas hat and Christmas scarf on him. So that'll be pretty cute. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to use some of this brown here around the edge of the ornament. It's such a pretty brown, I don't want it to go to waste. And that's perfect. It almost looks like the toppers to the ornaments here. And as I said, that red is probably going to cover all the bottom, and it's almost completely done that. So, and that's okay. We'll fill it in after with some more color and decide which side we like better once we demold it. But it's not even half full yet, so we will need to add some more color, whether we continue with the same or add something different. We'll figure that out. I don't have any stickers or anything to add to these plain ones yet. I did order some from Temu, and if you have ordered anything from Temu, you would know, pardon, that it does take quite a bit of time to come. So that will take roughly about 4 weeks to get here. So I won't have anything to add to these ornaments now. I may leave them plain until then, because I have ordered some really adorable heat transfer stickers for ornaments, coasters. The possibilities are endless. So you just see some bubbles here. I'm just going to go ahead and pop them. I don't want to mix the brown and the red together too much. I'm just going to let it do its thing, but I'm just going to go around the edges here where the bubbles will most likely be to get them to come up so that they can pop. As you can see, you can just do little designs like this, especially in the pearled mica powders, and that just shows. It ends up showing, and you just leave it, and it just does its own thing. I love the outcome of it. It's one of the things that I love the most is I get excited to come and see what the finished product looks like the next day when I come out to take a look at it. So that's something that I'll be excited for when I do that tomorrow. Just gonna try to get some of this. I know I said I didn't want to touch them too much, but it is dripping and I don't want it to drip too much here. All right, promise I'm gonna leave him now. All right. So that's a pretty cute ball. We're gonna go ahead and move that over here to the side. And spray our elk here with some alcohol. And it looks like we have about 4 ounces left. So I think what I'm going to do here is use the rest of the resin here and just add the blue to it, because what I can do is just add it to one of these bulbs after if I have extra, and I think I probably will. So my sister chose this color. It's again Rolio Bleu de France. So we're gonna go ahead and add some of this to the resin. As you see, it's gonna be a beautiful color as well as the others. It's got a little bit of shimmer in it, and we all know how much I love shimmer. So I'm gonna add some to that. And I'm going to close this because I am clumsy and I don't want to knock it over since it is the only one that I have. I will eventually be able to get the bigger ones, the bigger containers, I hope, but they are $20 a piece, so I am just holding out and using what I have right now until I'm able to get, you know, at least start with primary colors and then get some of the ones that I like on top of that. Like Miss Sheila uses a color, I believe it's a purpley color, Indigo Obelisk or something like that. I'm probably butchering the name, but it's such a beautiful color and I absolutely love it. I believe it's a May spring product. As you can see, that blue is just beautiful. It's a May spring product. I believe she likes May spring and eye candy, I believe she said. So it's one of those. And it's just absolutely amazing. I've seen a lot of the work she's done and it is beautiful. So now this does have a little bit of shimmer where if you look at it from the side, it does have a little bit of gold in it. So that's nice. That I haven't noticed before. So let's go ahead and pour this elk. So I'm going to start pouring just a little bit here and then making sure that any crevices, nooks and crannies that I can pop bubbles from, I'm going to try and make sure I pop the bigger bubbles that I can. Any micro bubbles, unfortunately, there's not much I could do about it right now. But I'll do the most I can by babysitting them off camera so you guys aren't bored. And babysitting them, pardon me, and spraying alcohol while I'm babysitting them to make sure that the bubbles pop. But anything right now that we see, so you see if you squeeze it, if you don't do any resin products, you'll see if you squeeze it, see how the bubbles come up and then they pop. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to make sure that you leave enough room to be able to do that. So he's got a little bit of a tail here in the back. And he's got his little eyes up here. And the eyes are most important because they do bulge out a little bit from his head. So you want to make sure that you don't have too many bubbles down here. Now there are quite a bit of bubbles in here, so we're going to shimmy, shimmy, shake him again. And try to get some of those bubbles up here so that we can pop them. And they are popping because they do have some alcohol in them still, so that's great. But I do see quite a bit down here. I'm just going to spray a little more alcohol in here. Try not to get my hand instead. As I said, I'm very clumsy, so. All right. And then I'm going to pour the rest of it. Now that I think I've got the eyes as clean as I can from bubbles, so you just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until you feel like it's filled out and there aren't any bubbles there to contend with. You do the best you can under the circumstances that you have. I know Miss Sheila said a few times in comments to me that when she started, she really didn't have any of the big tools either. So I'm just learning to do as much as I can as I go without any of the big things that other people do have. So if I do have micro bubbles, I'm just trying to learn what to do with them when I have them. But I can go ahead and make sure that I don't have some of the bigger bubbles that come up. So that's what I'm trying to do. So we'll go ahead and fill the rest of him up. I love this blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm gonna try to stop there. Oh boy, that was close. All right, well, that is an absolutely gorgeous color. Hope you can see, yeah, you can see how gorgeous and shimmery it is on camera. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, even though it is full, I am going to still shimmy, shimmy, shake this guy because I want to try to make sure all the bubbles that are down at the bottom here are going to come up. So let's give this guy a little shimmy, shimmy, shake, shake. Get him to dance along with us. Get some of those bubbles out here. I tell ya, it ain't soon enough before I get that bubble machine so that I can get rid of some of these micro bubbles before I even get the colors in here. But as I said, if there are any micro bubbles, I will learn to work on them as I go until I do get my machine. So we do have a little bit left of the blue. Looking at, ooh, just 50 milliliters. So I think what we're gonna do is fill one of these. Let's fill the Merry and Bright with some blue. I think that'll look huge. I think I sprayed that a little lopsided. I do go through a lot of isopropyl alcohol, so do look for deals wherever you are. If you are in Canada, I know it's a lot harder to find products, and products are a lot more expensive than they are for Americans. I'm not sure about other countries. I know there are a few YouTubers that I watch that are in Australia. They do have Just Resin, and I love their fluorescent green. I think they just call it green. I don't even think they call it fluoro green. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And I was hoping that that green was going to contend with that one. But as we see, it's still a beautiful color, even though it doesn't contend with the green from Just Resin. But Just Resin is amazing. Unfortunately, shipping and things cost a lot from Australia, so I don't think I'll be getting any of their pigments, unfortunately. I'm going to do the snowflake too, as we do have just a little bit left here. So I don't think I'll be able to get anything from Just Resin, sadly, but as they don't have anything on Amazon. But they do have beautiful colors if you're in any of the areas that they do ship to. Take a look at Just Resin. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies I've spoken about today. I don't have any affiliate links for any of them. In order to gain those, I would need to have at least, I believe, 100 subscribers before I can be affiliated with a few of the companies. So I do not have an affiliate link with anybody, so I'm not trying to gain anything by telling you guys about these companies, but I'm just telling you what I've seen from watching online, and I just absolutely adore some of the Just Resin colors of their pigments. And their pigments aren't powders, they are liquids, so they are just absolutely gorgeous. I love them. All right, so even though we overflowed that snowflake, all I had to do was scrape the rest off, and it's adorable. I absolutely love it. All right, now that does have some bubbles in it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my dotting tool, get those bubbles out. Any bubbles that I can get out, get them to contend here with the alcohol ink. Now off camera I probably will clean all the edges that I've made messes on. Watch me make myself a liar, and tomorrow I come back and they're all still dirty. But I will try to clean all the edges that I made messes on. I just don't like to fiddle too much, because I've noticed that I do fiddle, and when I do fiddle, I end up either dipping my finger into something I'm not supposed to, or making a bigger mess. And so I try not to fiddle too much, as when the resin does cure, you can just peel it off of the silicone molds. But I try not to fiddle too much, but I do make messes. Trust me, I've made my fair share. So just gonna wipe just a little bit here away, and we'll go ahead and spray that again. Poor Froggy's gonna have some webbed feet. Oh, it's okay. We'll fix him. All right. Now, this video is already just over an hour for the first half. So I think what I'm gonna do is continue on. Like I said, I'm just gonna fill these up, and I'm going to do the two dragon babies. And the next half of the video, you'll see those be ready to be able to get some resin into the egg, and then we'll be able to demold the rest of this and decorate the elk, and I'll show you. Hey everyone, so I'm back. We are ready to demold. As you can see, I do have a few extras when I was off camera. I did need to make up some more resin, so I did end up with a special Let's Resin mold done, and I started a skull from Let's Resin, but obviously we haven't finished him, so we'll keep him to the side and use extra resin for him to complete him. So there are a few of the bulbs that aren't full. We did a black and silver, which I absolutely love. My son loved it as well. We did a red with gold flakes. We did a green with a couple of different types of flakes. I mixed in blues and greens and purples, and it kind of reminds me of the Grinch, which I thought was pretty cool. And then two more blue ones. The red and brown one did flatten out. It is very thin, so we will need to add some more to that and add a backing to the black one as well. But we can do these two after, and then when we do the skull, as I mentioned yesterday, these guys will need to be put into the egg today. So we have the egg and we'll do that after. But we'll start demolding the things that we have first. I'm going to save this guy because I'm super excited about him. So we'll do him for last. Let's actually demold the frog first. So I'm going to try and be very careful here because I don't want him to lose any of his toes. He is still a little flexible. It is approximately 24 hours since I had molded them in the first place. So that will give me a little bit of give in order to get his toesies out of here and hopefully not break any off. Like I said, he is going to be a little bit of a winged foot here, but that's okay. I can trim him down with my Dremel machine. I just bought a cheap one from Temu. Temu saves quite a bit of money. It's not the greatest one. I was working with it. It does work. Did blow a fuse on me once, so I'm not sure. The voltage on it shouldn't have blown a fuse, but it did blow a fuse on me. So yeah, so this guy's gonna have to sit around for a little while longer because he is bendy. As I'm trying to pull the mold away, I'm still able to bend his body as well, so he will need to sit for a little while longer. I think what I'll do today is try a different type of resin. Let's Resin's 1-to-1 ratio resin is what I started using. And I found that, I'm not sure. I'm not going to make an assumption just yet. As I said yesterday when I was creating these, I did find a Canadian company. It's very hard to find things in Canada. Like, most of the Americans have amazing deals for things like the Let's Resin products, and I may need to use some alcohol to get him out of here. I just don't want to break any of his toes. Oh. Ooh, come on, little buddy. We can do it. There we go. Okay. I think we're gonna be okay here. So it does have those bubbles that we talked about yesterday. Perfect. We didn't break any toesies. As you can see, he's still very flexible, so he does need time to cure. So I may wait for complete curing before I use the Dremel, but these little pieces can be cut off. You can pick them off, but you see how he has little webbed feet? But he did turn out to be so cute. I really like the colors. My son really adored the colors. He came in last night and said he loves the way the colors are together. So he did turn out to be extremely cute. We do have some overage here on the silicone. So with the silicone, it just really peels right off. So you don't have to worry about that. You can use baby wipes to clean them up, pick it like I do. I don't know. I pick mine. But this one doesn't have too bad of overage. It looks like everything came out in froggy, so I will make sure to get him all cleaned up. Alright, so we'll put that mold here to the side. Get this cleaned up here. It's the last little bit of paper towel I have. Sometimes I will call this towel paper, just something I grew up with, so if I do call it towel paper and you're confused, it is called paper towel, but I may have said that I'm European, so if you don't know me, you know that we sometimes had our own words for things. Alright, so let's get Mr. Elky out. So cute. Okay, we'll do his antlers first. Oh, there. It's extremely flexible, so I think I am going to try that other resin. Again, it's an arts and crafts resin from Magic Resin. That's the other resin that I ordered. And we'll see if that one works a little bit quicker. I don't think so. The demold time on that is 48 to 72 hours as well, but I might be able to get it to work a little faster. But there's his little antlers. There's a little bit of overage, but that's okay. Easy to clean up. And we'll move to get him out of the mold. His little bum. So cute. Alright. They aren't the easiest to get off, so if you are having problems, I've seen people spray water, I've seen people spray alcohol into the mold, all different ways. When they're the cheaper molds, I don't mind stretching them. I don't obviously want to break them, especially because, you know, you don't want to keep having to buy molds because you're breaking them, but you can stretch it. Oh, he is still extremely soft in some areas. Very interesting. I wonder if it's temperature. It's not the mold. The mold's not. There's nothing wrong with the mold, so I don't see why his sides would be like that. But let's see if it's because it's not fully cured yet. Yeah, I think he might not be totally cured yet. So I think this guy's gonna have to stay with us because I might ruin him, but so just give me an idea. Now I know that at least with the Let's resin, I'm gonna have to wait longer to demold, especially this guy. Oh, come on, buddy. I know you guys are so cute with your big heads, but it doesn't help trying to get you out of mold. We can do it, come on. Oh. Almost there. Oh. No, not almost there. I'm wondering if I leave him. I don't know if I should leave him for a while longer. I feel like I've already kind of messed with him a little bit. Let me find my alcohol spray. Just give it a little spray in there. Move some of that around. Hopefully get that to loosen up a little bit. I don't remember. I don't think I remembered to spray him yesterday. I think I didn't spray them because I actually, when I was off camera, I know that I did this one off camera, so I just used a brush and painted the colors that you'll see. So there's purple with the orange scales and wings or feathers. They're dinosaurs, so wings, and then an orange one with the purple. So, and then after that I just filled it in with black just to enhance the color of the mica powder that I painted it with. So let's see, one more try. It's a little disappointing that It's not completely dry yet. Well, let's try again. See how far we can get this time. You just gotta get your big noggin out, buddy. I will still decorate him, show you how I'll decorate them if you are interested in ordering. We do have a Facebook group under the name of my YouTube channel, uniquely created by Alexa. So please feel free to join the Facebook group if you're interested in ordering. Anything that I have in stock will be in the group. Yeah, you see I just squished his tail, so he's not ready to come out yet, but I think because I've already done some damage, I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze him out. Oh, there we go. Well, isn't that much easier than it? Probably because he's not fully cured. I'm squeezing the poor guy's little head. Yeah, he's not cured all the way. Aww. It's interesting. Still very... Wonder if it's the weather. Maybe I'll pour another one of these guys today. I still have the antlers. We'll keep these. Maybe I'll put the heating mat on so that these can cure. I just have a tiny one from Let's Resin heating mat, so I'll pour another one of these guys today and see if we can have a better one. So on the video tomorrow, I'm going to finish this video today, so you'll see the finished product of these guys in their egg for tomorrow's video, and I'll have another one of these guys, and hopefully with the new resin it will cure faster, and I'm gonna keep the heating mat on as well, so we'll do that as well. Now let's hope these guys, oh yeah, they're still soft too, but I can, you know what, I can take them out, but I think I might save these because it is still soft. The temperature in here is 15 degrees Celsius, so not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's 15 degrees Celsius, so I think that it may, I'm not sure if it's too cold for the resin to cure, but it has been 24 hours, so let's just wait and see with that. I don't want to ruin these guys because they're so pretty. I already did pull it half out though. Let's see if I could get this guy out without ruining him too much. Maybe if I pop it out and then I can lay him flat. Yeah, it's almost like a, I wouldn't say plasticine, but it's very interesting. Okay, so that is super pretty. It says Marianne Bright on it. Now I am able to leave fingerprints on it, so if any crafters are out there that are watching my channel that can give me some ideas of how I can handle this. There are no bubbles. I know that was one of my biggest concerns. There definitely aren't on the coasters. This guy was okay for bubbles too, but he's so sticky. And this guy just under the chin, just like I said, there's quite a bit of bubbles here under the chin, but I can easily fix that. Other than that, there's no bubbles, which I'm pretty thankful for. He came out great. So I think I'll leave these all to the side and leave them for another 24 hours. And I'll kind of do like a mass showing of everything once they're finished. I'm kind of worried about these as well now. Yeah. All right. So this is kind of a fail here. A little bit of a fail, but what I'll do is I will pour a new elk with the new can't even think right now, with the new resin, and we'll see how that works. If it does do better, then I'll use that for my next video, but for these projects I don't want to risk pulling them out right now, just because of the way this guy handled, and I knew he was still wet because his body was bendy, and that's not supposed to happen. And this is one of the expensive handmade molds that I've talked about before, so this, if you watch Miss Sheila's videos, then you'll know what this is, but if you don't, this is going to be a surprise for everybody. Super excited to pour this guy yesterday, but I don't want to pull him out, especially if these are still kind of maneuverable. I don't want to mess him up because that's going to be a special guy. So we'll move him off to the side, and I'll make sure to put heating mat under here for after, and we will heat these guys up and hopefully fix them. I feel so bad. I touched the frog and I touched the back of this guy, and they're all hard, but until I started demolding, it wasn't working. So first video on the internet is going to be a little bit of a fail, but that's okay. We sometimes fail. It's all a learning process with resin. Like I said, resin does what resin wants to do. Most of the time it's not something you can plan for, as I've done quite a bit of research watching online, different creators and things like that, and I've noticed that with them they do say that resin works its own way. So I will try to the new resin and see if that works better. Again, it is a little cold in the room, so I don't know if that's why they are bending, but I will be right back. I'm just going to mix up some more resin to fill the elk. We'll do another one of these just in case this guy doesn't do well. I'm going to get some gloves on so I can protect myself. Always protect yourself with resin. It is really toxic to use. So I'm just going to get my gloves on, mix some resin, and I will be right back with you guys. A little bit quicker, guys. I know I said I was going to fill out some resin, but actually I was opening this package from Let's Resin, or Magic Resin. My goodness, I don't know if you guys can see the package. So I did order a smaller case so that I could have the smaller bottles. That'll be easier for me to handle. I do have osteoarthritis, so it is hard for me to handle things, as well as fibromyalgia, so it is harder for me to handle things, heavy things. So these ones will be able to be easier for me to refill with the bigger bottles, and then go ahead and, you know, have the smaller bottles at hand. But I was opening up this package and I was amazed at what you get for just this small package. So let me just go ahead and move the container. So you do get, it looks like 2 8-ounce silicone cups, Magic Resin silicone cups. You do get, which are always great. They are a little harder to clean, but I did purchase crocodile wipes. Miss Sheila talks about them a lot, and I'm really hoping that it helps me, because for me, cleaning is the most, cleaning after, like all the things that I use that I need to clean off, getting the resin out of it is probably the most tedious task for me. So if the crocodile wipes helps me with that, even to reduce the time down to half or quarter of the time off of it, I'll be so happy for that. So I just wanted to show you guys how much comes in this. This package on their website is $29. I'm not affiliated with them at all, just so you know. I'm sure you know that, since my channel is going to have very little subscribers, but for those that don't know, I'm not affiliated with them, I'm not getting paid for this. But it does come with 1 pack of gloves, 2 packs of gloves, So you do have your A and B. It is, so it is an art and craft epoxy resin for all types of applications. They do say it's crystal clear, high gloss, resists yellowing, odor free, and it's a 1-to-1 mix as well for these guys. So these 32 ounce jars, again, $29.95. And then if you order from their website, you do get to go on to like you get little discounts, so you get points for each order. For all the money that you spend. So I did order from their website in order to get these. So I got these bottles, and then I got 2 liters of the bigger bottles so that I had them. So I was opening this and I thought, you know what, I want to record this for anybody that is having a hard time finding resin, because if this resin is as good as I hope it is, then I can let you know of somewhere that I found, if you're in Canada, that you're not able to find readily available. So they do give you, obviously, thank you for your purchase. They tell you how to have, what the room temperature should be, so between 20 to 25, which I'm sure it will be soon, because my mom's tiny and always cold, and humidity between 40 and 60%, excuse me, and right now my room is at 44, so that's perfect. Now they do have all different types of resins as well, so if you're looking for deep pour, casting resins, top coats, they have all of those available, and they just give you the directions on how to use it and how long to wait. So it looks like this one is a 24-hour wait time, but you can recoat or add another layer within 4 to 10 hours following a pour. So that's fantastic. So it's great that they give us this. And then looks like you even get some mica powders from them, so that's great to have. Another set of gloves. This is amazing for the $29 pack, to be honest. And some popsicle sticks, and for us resiners, you know popsicle sticks are golden, so that's great to have. So I did want to start the camera back quicker just to let you guys see what they do offer in that small of a package. I didn't think that it would come in the smaller packages, but clearly it has. And since they did send some gloves, they're probably like large gloves, but that's okay. We'll wear them. I do have tiny hands, so we will wear them. I think I'll save these guys for emergencies, for if I ever run out of resin. So I'll save those guys for emergencies. But like I said, for today, I'm gonna put on some gloves, and then we will mix some more resin. Now I was thinking of mixing a small container of silver to fill out this Merry and Bright. I know it's still a little soft for this ornament, but I was thinking if I did it with UV resin and mixed in some silver mica powder in that and filled that in and put it under my UV light, that would be cute. So we can do that. I know I promised you decorating the elk today, but I didn't foresee that the cold temperature was going to cause my resin to not cure fast enough. So I do apologize about that. As I said, I am still learning, so please bear with me. If you're still with me, God bless you. Thank you for being here. I can't thank you enough. This is, as I said before, this is something that I do because honestly it saved me in a way. I was very depressed, very sad, and you know, my sister's birthday was coming up and I was thinking, what should I buy her, and thinking of all these generic things, you know, when you think about birthday presents. Then I'm like, you know what, I want to make her something. And that's when this came up, and and I just fell in love. I fell in love with the options. I fell in love with it, and I couldn't have picked a more expensive hobby. I do love crocheting as well. That's an expensive hobby. Skeins here in Canada are expensive as well if you're in the US. So, but that's fine. We are where we are. So for the silver, I'm just going to use the Let's Resin metallic silver powder. And I will mix that with some J. Diction high viscosity UV resin, and then I do have the Let's Resin double light, so maybe that'll help it cure a little as well. We will see. I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of working space. I know I said that before, but I'm gonna work with what I can here. Got a toothpick to put the silver in. I'm just gonna grab one of these little cups. Everything I'm going to use for this pour is going to be disposable, just so I can keep cleaning at a minimal for today, since I'm going to upload this video. I'm going to have to edit and upload it, so that'll be another hurdle to go through. So let's go ahead and pour. I believe this guy was 2 ounces, and we used the Royal wasn't the electric blue. Sorry, I'm just taking a look here through the kit, trying to find the blue I used. Tried to clean up here a little bit yesterday. Wasn't the electric blue. So this is the kit, if you don't know, if you don't have anything. This is the kit that you get when you order the kit in order to get pigments to start out with. So this gives you a lot of colors. Doesn't give you every color that they have, but it does give you quite a lot to start off with. So I'm super thankful that I have all of these. I could swear I put it back. I think I'm losing my mind here. Oh Lord. Oh, here it is. Bleu de France. I'm probably butchering that, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, let's go ahead and pour this, and then I'm gonna make sure that I don't forget to save a little. Actually, this I'm doing with UV resin, so let's go ahead and pour. I think I'm gonna pour 3 ounces just to be safe. And if it's not 3 ounces, and I'm going to spray him with my alcohol spray right away, just to start. And if I don't need the full 3 ounces, I can use it for something else. So again, you've got your A and your B stickers. Your A is your resin, your B is your hardener. So if it's a 1-to-1, you want to make sure to measure it to the exact measurement. So if I'm going to go to 3 ounces, then I'm going to want to do 1.5 ounces of A and 1.5 ounces of B. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, I like this top. It's just got the little top that you pull up and out for these. That's interesting. I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and pour that. So this is A. I'm not going to use the hand mix, or I'm not going to use the mixer for this one. I'm going to hand mix this one, just so I can avoid too much cleanup since I do need to edit this video. So that is 1.5 ounces here. And we will go ahead and get 1.5 ounces of B. If it's a little bit over, that is okay. If you're a tiny bit over, but if you do go like a significant amount over, then you would want to match the B to the A. You always need to make sure that your hardener matches with the resin or it won't go hard, which is its point, right? So let's go ahead and get that out. That's great. I love that. All right. And I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of hardener. Now you will see, I'm not sure if you can see too well in the video, I am getting a different tripod that's going to allow you to be closer to my workstation, as this one that I got from Temu is not as flexible as I hoped it was. So I've kind of got you up and over my computer to work with. So alright, so that's just over 3 ounces, and that's perfect because I did pour just over 1.5 to start. So I'll just move these bottles over because I am extremely clumsy. I know Miss Sheila says she is as well, and I always giggle when I hear her say that because I absolutely am. So I think I was starting to say, if you haven't used resin before and you are interested in using them, you can tell there's a difference between the hardener. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is a difference between the hardener and the resin. They look like almost if they were colored, like they were oil and vinegar, and you have to make sure that they're mixed. So there is a clear line as to where they are. So you have to give it a good mix in order for it to cure properly here. Sorry, that's my kitty going a little crazy here. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a good mix. Now you normally want to mix it for 3 minutes. Make sure to scrape the sides and the bottom. I really do hope I love this resin more than the Let's resin. I did try to get the Let's resin UV resin. I'm not sure if I wasn't using it properly or what it was, but for my sister's gift, it was the very first thing I ever made with resin. I believe she did post a picture of her in our Facebook group. So again, if you do want to join, it is a closed group, so you're more than welcome to request to join. It is uniquely created by Alexa. And you'll be able to see that I did make her a sea turtle for her birthday. And I was hoping that the sea turtle would be clear because I did make 2 tiny sea turtles in there. And I put some sand on the second layer with some seashells. You can see some of the seashells. You can't see the other turtles that I put in there. So it wasn't as clear as I was hoping it would be. So I was a bit disappointed with that. I tried using a coat of UV resin, and it was the Let's resin UV resin. I got the kit, the tiny kit. I believe I have the resin here somewhere, but I did get the tiny kit with the light that you can get on Amazon. But it was still very sticky. She had it for I think 2 weeks and it was still sticky. I didn't have any UV lamps yet. I didn't have any of the big stuff. I told her to keep it in the sunlight, and then I did get a small UV lamp and told her to bring it back. I tried again with the J Diction and that worked out quite well. So I think I prefer the J Diction just because of that experience. I do still have the small bottle of the other one, so I will try and use it anyway. I don't want to waste anything with how expensive this hobby is, but I don't know, I just didn't, I don't know if it's user error. It could very well just be user error, and I just wasn't doing something right. But the UV resin, the J Diction one, was working just fine for me, so I don't know exactly if I was doing something wrong, what I was doing wrong, so. I believe we should be okay here now. It does look fully mixed. I'm going to actually attempt to close my door here, see if that warms up the room a little bit to help with the resin. Again, if you are a resin enthusiast and you happen to jump on my channel, thank you for being here. If you have any tips or tricks for me, they would be very much appreciated. Please don't leave any negative, disparaging comments. However, if you are looking to help, I'm very happy to listen to anything, any advice that you might have for me. So let me just reach my door here and close it up and see if we can just, the room is small, my office, it's a tiny room, so it does warm up quite quickly. I'm going through pre-menopause, TMI, I know, but you're gonna get that from me, so if you're watching my channel. I curse a lot, I speak too much, and I give too much info. But it is what it is. As I said in my other clip that I will have in the beginning of this video, with mental health, I am definitely a mental health advocate as somebody who suffers with it every day of my life, and I will always be here to advocate for those with mental health because I know exactly how you feel and what you're going through. So let's add some of the beautiful blue mica powder to this. I'm cheap, I'm going to try to save that if I can. Alright. It'd actually be funny if I locked my cat in here with me. No, she's not in here. She usually lays by my feet every time I'm in here doing a project. She just lays by my feet and sits in here with me and doesn't move the entire time I'm working. I could be in here for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, she'll still be in here. She's a good cat. Most of the time. Alright. So I will give this resin a little bit of time to warm up there. I think that's a perfect blue. What you want to do is you want to look, when you're looking at it from your stick, that's the color you're going to get. So I may add a little bit more. That's a little more translucent than I want it to be. Let me just add a bit more to that. When I say a bit, I mean 2 more heaping spoonfuls. And let's make sure this isn't too translucent. Now, I know this has some sparkle in it, as you can if you could tell from here. I think you can see on camera. I'm not sure if you could tell too much, but it does have a little bit of sparkle to it. I was going to add some of the crushed crystal. Ugh, when we talk about expensive, That is $50 for a container of crushed crystal. So I'm going to use that very sparingly. But when I've seen it in projects that other YouTube creators have used, I've absolutely fell in love with it. So I'm not going to use any today, as this has more than enough sparkle. I think I'll save that for alcohol ink projects, because I think the mica powder, the Rolio mica powders that I've got, the majority of them do have a little bit of sparkle in them. So you could actually probably see it from, blue on blue is probably not working too well, but you could probably see it from the stick that it does have a little bit of shimmer on it. I don't think I have anything black. Oh, I do. So that might help for you to see that it does have a little bit of shimmer to it, and it appears that all of them do. This does say it's the Rolio original pigment powders, the original set. So I guess they just like glitter as much as I do. I won't complain about that. So I'll go ahead and leave that resin a little bit to warm up. I am seeing it warming up a little bit already, which is great. So that's a perfect sign. What I'll do is take this cup and we're just going to put a little bit of this UV resin in the bottom of the cup. And I am going to add some of this. As I said, it's the less resin metallic powder in silver. I do have this set, so it includes champagne, gold, bronze, and rose gold. So these are beautiful. I try and wait for everything to go on sale because I'm not sure why less resin products. A lot of the US products, like Miss Sheila does use, Miss Sheila from Reptiles and Resin. She does use an epoxy that she absolutely loves by Tea Expert. I tried looking them up and their epoxies are quite expensive for Canadians. It's almost double the price of what I would pay for the Let's resin here. So I do have it on my wish list if the price ever does go down, but I highly doubt that's the case. I think it's just something that's for Americans, sadly. But that's okay. Maybe I found a good one in this resin and you can see how it goes. I'm just going to use the other end of the stick. Actually, I don't think it's going to matter much because it is the same blue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the silver to this. I'm not going to need to use too much. That's probably too much as I say that. Since I only have a tiny amount in here, and you can see how it's very silver. So it's extremely metallic, and that's what we want. So I'm just going to give it a good mix here. And then I'm going to use this toothpick that I have and just fill in the letters of the Merry and Bright. I think I'll just use a little more UV resin. Just checking on this resin here. So it's cool, but it's not cold as it was when I poured it. So it is warming up a little bit, so that is a good sign. for that, I'm just going to go ahead and take the toothpick. Oh, let me close this because my clumsy self will knock it over and waste a lot of powder, which I don't want to do. And this is my first time doing this, so if I do make mistakes, ignore me. But we're just going to follow the creases just like the mold has here, and we're going to fill this in with the silver. And then we're going to put it under the UV light. We might do a second coat if needed. I really like the blue and silver together. They're very pretty. I do have the chrome markers as well. Let's Resin has the chrome markers. I did purchase those. They were on sale, all three, for just under $20. I think they were down from $30. So I purchased them. You could use those instead. If you don't have UV resin, you could use those to fill this in. I did make a little bit of a mess there, but that's what little Q-tips are for, is to clean up. And I am left-handed, if you're noticing, so I do have to peek over my work and over my hand to see what I'm doing here. Only left-handed person in my entire family. Can't say I'm adopted though, as when my sister and I were young, we looked exactly alike. And she's right-handed, so can't use that excuse, Tata, if you're watching this. I'm not adopted. Tata means dad in Serbian, if you guys don't know. He always jokes around that I was adopted. I really like this. And you could further decorate these with, I don't know if I said earlier or not, but I'm getting like little snowflakes and things like that from Temu. Everything's like $1 or so to come in, like to order them, but it takes a while for them to come in. So hopefully they come in soon so we can start decorating. I love Halloween, but unfortunately for financial purposes, I had to wait until now to start the videos because I did need a few other pieces of equipment that I didn't have, and in order to get those I needed to wait until I had the money. So this is where I think I may have squeezed this guy. I'll try and just stretch him out a little bit. There we go. So we're gonna work on Christmas stuff, but I would have done some Halloween stuff on camera for sure. I love both of them. Christmas has always been special to me, but especially the last, I can't remember when me and my sister started now. I know she'll remember, but we always bake Christmas cookies. I wasn't able to last year. I don't remember if I was the year before or not. My agoraphobia hits me really hard most of the time. And even going to my sister's has been hard. I haven't been to my sister's house in years. You know, I can see people that I've known for years, people that are family, and it triggers me, even though they're family and I know they won't hurt me, but I still get triggered. So it's something that my family has been trying to help me with, especially my sister. She's amazing with me. She's patient. She's extremely patient and kind with me. She helps me a lot with anything I need, even if it's something trivial like emailing somebody back. It may seem extremely trivial to some people, but for others who may suffer from chronic depression and or anxiety, I'm sure you understand that even something as small as emailing somebody, especially if it's something that has to do with or the origin of where your trauma came from, causes a lot of anxiety. And so it's almost debilitating. So her being able to do something like that just really takes a load off. It was hard for me to ask for a long time. I would ignore messages and things like that, and so if you do that, don't feel bad. You're not alone. It's hard. Too many messages is overwhelming, especially if you get messages from a place, if you were triggered, if you had a tragic event happen, something happened to you, and you get messages from that place. For me, for instance, it was my workplace. So any messages I get about my workplace, I instantly get triggered, and it brings me right back to the event that happened that caused me to be where I am today. So, but not everything's negative. Look at where I am now. I'm here with you, doing something that I absolutely love. I really hope this does go somewhere. I'm not expecting to get millions of followers or anything, and I would be happy to get, I'd be happy to get 100 if I could. That would be amazing. It's just people being here, watching me do something I love, experiencing it with me. That means a lot. I really do like the silver with the blue. It's absolutely beautiful. It's starting to get thicker here, so I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna move it over to one of these. I have these tiny Q-tips from Temu. Can't think of the name for the life of me. So I'm gonna try and see how these work. Let's see. I don't want to use too much, but I do want to get it wet enough that there we go. I'm going over the edges with that though. Let's see. Sorry. Legs are going numb here. Alright. I may have liked the toothpick better. Let's go back to the toothpick. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little indecisive here. So it's still pretty runny. It's still good to sit for a little bit. I'm just going to take my legs out from under me here and go back to the toothpick. It actually might not even look bad with it going over the edges, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. If you guys want to fast forward this, you're more than welcome to. I may fast forward this in editing if I learn how to do how. If I learn how to do it, pardon me. But if I haven't learned how to do it and haven't fast forwarded it, you're a little bit bored. I understand completely. Being as clumsy as I am, I was thinking last night as well that if I do make errors and I do make some big mistakes, that maybe at the end of my future videos I could put bloopers in, because I'm sure with my clumsy self I'll have many of those that I'd be able to add in. Temperature in here has gone up to 17 degrees, so it's not that cold in here. But if I did have the window completely closed, I'd be sweating buckets. So also, because it is such a small space, I don't want to be working with resin without ventilation, proper ventilation. So if the VOC fumes do become too much for you, you can get VOC burn. It could irritate your eyes, nose, throat. So you have to be very careful when you're working with this. If it does, there are masks for it. I'm thankful that I don't have any of those issues myself, but when and if you do start working with it, just be careful. It is a toxic chemical. I know a lot of them say they have little to no odor, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm not sensing an odor from this resin, from Magic Resin, but I'm not experiencing anything right now. I may sniffle a little bit. I think I just have an allergy to dust. So I apologize if you do hear me sniffling. Yeah, I like the toothpick a lot better to use for this. So I think for me it fills it in a little bit more. So as you can see, I didn't color in the and yet, just because there is a border. It's like a little flag and then it has "and" in it, so I'm just trying to decide if I want to do the silver or if I want to try something else. But let me just do a little bit of cleanup here. Just spray a little bit of alcohol. And again, it's isopropyl alcohol, 99%, preferably. If you have to get 97, that's okay too, but 99% preferably. It's the best one to use. If you do live in Canada, I find it cheapest at Shoppers Drug Mart to buy. I haven't seen it anywhere else for cheaper yet. My son did take a look at Walmart yesterday. They did say they had it in stock, but they didn't have any on the shelves when he was looking for them, so I don't know how much they are at Walmart. But right now, online, since that's all I could really do is shop online, I've only been able to find it at Shoppers, the isopropyl alcohol. And it's $7.99 for a 500 milliliter bottle. I don't know if it's just the glare or if it's, oh yeah, it is sponging a little bit. See if I can get some of that silver off and clean that up. There we go. All right. I could do a red in the middle, or I could just stay with, let me just stay with the silver since we already have it made up here. Sorry if there's any dead air, guys. I am trying to focus here. Did I say I was perfectionist? Looks like I might even need a tinier toothpick to get into some of these areas. My cat's scratching at the door. I'm sorry if you can hear that. She's not used to me closing the door on her. Sometimes I love being left-handed just because it's different, and other times it causes issues. saw an area here I didn't see enough filled in. Where was I? Right here. If you're like me and watching some YouTubers, you're probably like, oh, there's an area you need to fill right there. That would be me as well. Alright, let's see how that goes. We'll put that under the UV light. I think you can read that and just fine. Let's see. Yeah, you should be able to see that just fine. Let me just try. I'm just worried if I try to clean it up too much, it's just going to make a mess. We'll just leave that. I'm going to set it for 3 minutes here, and we'll put it under the Let's Resin UV light to cure. We'll take a look at it when that turns off. Now this is definitely getting warmer than the resin yesterday, so I think we have a winner here. I hope. Fingers crossed, everybody. Oh boy. Fingers crossed, as this is the resin that I'm gonna have to use for the next month. And I would like to try to at least get a few videos out to you guys a week. If I can do more, that would be wonderful. In December, I want to try to get one out every day, but I figured it's going to take me time. Also, I need to figure out a way to configure my workspace, as I don't have a lot of space, as you can see. So with certain projects, I don't have a lot of space to move things this way and that, so that I can work with new things. So if I'm finishing a video for you, and let's say, you know, yesterday I was finishing this one by pouring these guys, and then I wanted to start a video for the following day, I wouldn't have anywhere to put these guys to cure while I'm starting another video. So I'd have to learn how to configure everything in order to get that to work, but I'll figure it out. Just be patient with me. Hopefully this resin will be a lot better. I did spray this guy, but that was a while ago, so I'm just gonna give him a spray again. I'm gonna make sure a little goes into his little bum there and his eyeballs. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and start pouring. I probably will mold another one of the ornaments in this color if I do have extra. It's an absolutely gorgeous color. So I'm just squeezing it again. You want to make sure you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Make sure there's no extra bubbles. Especially in the areas like the eyeballs, because it's going to be very noticeable. On this guy, his eyeballs, like this one, even though he's a little distorted now, his eyeballs do come up quite a bit. So you do want to make sure that there's no bubbles in the eyeballs that are going to be visible for when you're decorating. So I want to make sure we don't have any bubbles in the eyeballs. I'm just going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If you do see bubbles come up, just give it a minute to pop. You've already added some of the alcohol in there, so that's going to come to the top as well. Help the bubbles pop. Don't squeeze it like I just did so that you get resin all over the place. I don't think I did, but I'm shocked I didn't. And we'll just continue to squeeze just a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. And I give a shimmy, shimmy, shake, shake to them. Make sure we get those bubbles to come to the top here. Now you can see the eyes. As you can see, there's one of the eyes right here. So you can see the eyes. You can't see completely through the silicone, but if there are large bubbles, you will be able to see that. So that's something that you'd want to take care of as soon as possible if you did see a large bubble. But for the micro bubbles, sometimes you just can't help it, especially if you don't have a vacuum chamber. And I don't have one, but I did order the Resiners bubble machine. I did get it on quite a large deal, so hopefully that helps me. I don't have a lot of workspace to work with right now. Probably repeating myself many times, so excuse me that I do, but I don't have a lot of workspace to work with, so until I can get myself like an L-shaped desk, and this chair is just awful. I sit in. It's from years ago when I used to work from home, and it's just an awful chair, but we get things situated eventually, and we'll have more room for proper equipment. If I don't keep doing this, maybe some people will be interested in buying some of these guys. That would be great to know that they go to a home where they'll be loved by something that was handmade by me. Knowing that somebody will enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it. All the things that I created that I gave away, I would have loved to keep every one of them, but just not enough room. But I have a feeling that I am going to be keeping one of these blue elks for myself, because I'm going to make her a little princess. She's going to be all blinged out. Alright, let's add a little bit more. Now, if you can, very carefully dome it, because the resin does sink. I think I forgot to show you guys that when I did attempt to pull it out, but the resin does sink. So as it's curing, it does sink down, and so right now it is domed, but it will sink down, and tomorrow it may have a little bit of an indent, which is easy to fix. You can just file it down, and that fixes that problem. Use some UV resin on the edges if you want to fill it in. See a bubble there. Get out of here. No bubbles. We don't want no bubbles. I don't know how TLC's I don't want no scrub just got in my head, but there you go. That's how my mind works. Is that even TLC? I don't know. I have an extremely bad memory, so I could be wrong, but no scrub just got in my head when I was singing that we don't want no bubbles. Alright. Alright, so we do have a little bit more resin here. I think what I will do to finish this off is I'll go ahead and fill this guy up, and if he fills up completely, I may just put some, I'm not sure. Usually black is used for resiners. If you're not used to resin, black is used as to put in behind of a project. I just put sparkles in here so that I wasn't using too much resin. That's why there were so many sparkles in here. Also because I'm not sure how it's going to look with the egg, and I just didn't want it to be flat. So I thought it would be cool if it was a clear egg with the, you know, the black on one side and the colored on the other. This, when I was off camera, I just used a paintbrush and painted in the colors using the mica powder. Same mica powders I showed you yesterday when I started the video. So black is usually used for in behind projects. It makes things just glow, like they really just shine, especially with things like chameleon powders. I do have a set of Let's Resin chameleon powders, super expensive for Canadians. So if there are any Canadians that are watching this that do use mica powders, please let me know, or the Let's Resin chameleon powders, let me know if there is anything or a substitute, if I can get them somewhere else where they're cheaper, or a substitute for them that's a better substitute than the Let's Resin. Please let me know, because I really do like the mica powders. I did see that Just Resin in Australia has beautiful chameleon powder. It's not powder for them, it's the they have the gels. They have the gel products, so pigments, I guess. Yes, pigment is what they would call it. So they do have the chameleon pigments, and they're just so amazingly gorgeous. But again, very expensive for us here in Canada, and they aren't on Amazon, so I can't get it. So black is usually, long story short, black is usually used for in behind of something. If you have a chameleon powder, they're so beautiful to be able to add black in behind it, and so you can see the color shifting as you're moving the product. So like if the frog here, if instead of, you know, using the mica powder to fill him in, if I colored it with a chrome powder and then filled it with black, you would be able to see the color shift. It would be beautiful. White is used for that as well, but it's not as vibrant if you use white. Black, it's better to use. So that's another thing, is there is black resin, like already created resin, where you just use the black, but again, something else I can't find here. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and pour this. So I think that was just my long-winded way of saying I wouldn't usually add a color behind the black, because this is an ornament that does have a saying on it. But if I do have too much resin, I just don't want to waste it, so I'll just add it to the back of this guy. I definitely don't want to add them to the back of the red and brown one. I don't know how well you can see it, but the brown kind of melded in with the red, and I really like the way it looks. So I'm thinking of coating the back with just a clear. And I can do that off camera, so you guys have seen me mix the resin, so you don't need to see that as well. But I could do that off camera and then show you guys how it turned out. Now that's just the clear one, so I am considering just leaving it and waiting for one of the stickers that I've ordered to put it on there as well. So just deciding what I want to do with this red one, since the other side of the mold doesn't have a saying on it. This is just a plain one, so I could use a sticker and put some clear resin on top of the sticker and decorate around the edges. That would be adorable as well. It doesn't have to be, see these bubbles coming up? Doesn't have to be just resin in here. It could be anything, so we may use that. We do have a tiny bit of resin left, so I think I just will pour the rest of what I have in behind the black. May look a little funny, but oh well. And just let it self-level once I pour it, and then we'll see what comes out of this guy. It's almost like a scrap ornament. Now that other ornament has cured for 6 minutes, so we'll take that out in a moment. Just want to finish this guy off. Just want to make sure I'm not going to make a mess. Huh, me not making messes, that's a funny joke. Now you can push it to the edges if you want to, if you don't want it to self-level. I just want to make sure it gets to all the edges, and then it can do what it wants to do from there. Just because the black behind it will be very visible. And then if you scrape off the sides of the cup, as you can see, you will get extras. A lot of extras, so you can use them. I'm just using it for around the little bubble top here, so that that's nice and full, and that hole can stay there so that we can hang that on our Christmas tree this year. My son's very adamant about having one this year, so we are going to do that. He is almost 20, and I will do anything he says as long as he's still around home for me to see he's good. That's all I care about. Alright, so that one's full, that one's full. All of them are full now. Still a little, yeah, still a little funny on the way that cured, so hopefully this resin will be okay. Pardon me, just gonna wipe my nose if you do hear a sniff. Alright, let's take this ornament out and see how it looks. Oh, please don't tell me it's stuck on. Oh my goodness gracious. I told you, bloopers. Probably gonna need a blooper section. I think it is stuck to the Let's Resin. Let's see here. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Blooper section. Trying to keep that really clean. That's not working. Resin all over my gloves. Well, not so much for that. Alright. Let's see what's going on here and why this is stuck. Excuse me. Can you come up? Let's see if I can pull it up with my silicone brush here. Oh my lord. Is this supposed to happen? It's okay, you can all laugh. I'm probably laughing inside with you. Or I'll laugh after when I'm editing this video. Oh, I'm gonna tip something over, I know I am. Come on, little money. You don't want to stay. Man, I thought this was gonna help you cure, not get you stuck. Thank you. Lord have mercy. Anybody want a very crooked? Oh, Lord have mercy. Only to me things like this have happened. Oh, God. Okay, I will clean that later. That's just the board for the UV light. Can I straighten you back out again? Sure I can. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. So what I was thinking was to cover it with another UV coating and put it back under the light, but now I'm scared it's going to get stuck under there. So I think I'll just leave it and see if it'll harden overnight. I'm going to put the heating pad, as I said, over it, underneath all this, excuse me, and let these cure overnight now that I have the new resin that I'm using, that I just lost the lid for over there. Lord have mercy. I'll put the heating pad on, see how that works. See if that helps. Although this resin does seem to be heating up a lot quicker than the other resin yesterday. It does suck because that's a couple $100 that does go to waste, because I do have quite a bit of that resin left over. But there is something good that came out of this, and that is there is a Canadian company that we can use for resin, which is fantastic. So that is the blessing that comes out of all this. So we'll go ahead and leave elk and these ornaments overnight again. I will probably cover that with another coat of UV resin tomorrow. And then these guys you will see in another video. You get the idea with what I'm going to do with the rest of these ornaments, as this video is now going to be about 2 hours long. Well, the first half was just over, I believe, just over an hour, and this one's coming an hour and 1 minute already. And I don't know if I'm going to be very good at editing. I'm going to try my best, but I want to edit this video down so you guys aren't bored watching. So if I do come back tomorrow and everything's good, I will definitely show you the elk. We'll unmold the elk together. We will decorate the elk. I've got a scarf for her. I've got a hat for her. We'll put some rhinestones on her. We'll do her all up, and she'll be absolutely adorable. I'll show you the surprise that is this tomorrow as well. The handmade mold. And if I have, while I'm editing and sitting here babysitting my projects, if I do find that this gets hard enough to pour the egg mold, I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's right beside me. So if I do find that it gets hard enough that I could put it in the egg mold, I'll pour it and then just show you guys the finished product after that. But thank you guys so much for being here with me. I can't thank you enough for being here to support me through this journey of mine. As I said, I was absolutely terrified starting to film this. So I told my sister and my best friend that I was absolutely terrified yesterday when I started the video. I am starting to feel a little more comfortable, but I do make a lot of mistakes, as you can see, and I'm trying to do my best to rectify them as I go. If you do have any tips or tricks, please share them with me. Do everything you do with love in your heart. Make sure that you leave some comments down below and let me know if you have any suggestions, any questions, even if you just want to say hi. If you can share it out to people that you think will like the videos, or if you can subscribe, I would be so thankful for that. It'll keep me going on my journey to make new projects. You'll hopefully see me progress and make better and better projects. I do have a lot of things in my mind I want to try. I do want to try to make, I have a mold that I made for my mom for her birthday that is like a geode shape. It's a tray, and I was thinking of making things to add to the tray, so I have some ideas with that, with glaciers and things like that, with little animals. So there's a lot of ideas that I have in my head, but I'm just hoping that I can engage with you guys enough that keeps you interested. So again, please, everything you do, do it with love in your heart. Be safe. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful night. Thanks again. Bye.